I have a confession to make. I check the news a lot, multiple times per hour. It's a habit I feel has spiraled out of control. It starts when waking up. Often grabbing my phone to check the news is the first thing I do. During the day, this just continues. I read the news when having breakfast or lunch, and probably the worst of it all, whenever I have a moment of boredom, my first impulse is to visit a news site. It's so automatic, compulsive even. Half of the time I don't even know how it happened. And if I really got something out of it, I wouldn't be making this video. But I don't. It's the opposite. When you turn on the news anchor wishes you a good evening. But then they spend 20 minutes explaining why it isn't one. When scrolling from one news article to the next one, I find myself asking in a brief moment of mental clarity, why am I reading this? Why do I need to know this? The obvious answer is, to stay informed about what's going on in the world. What if I miss something important? But when I think about that more deeply, this answer is flawed. What you see on the news is not an accurate representation of the current state of the world. How could it be? That would be boring. I get it. Bad news sells. Human beings have a negativity bias. In our hunter-gatherer days, this increased our chances of survival. But we live in different times now. In fact, right here, right now is literally the best time we could possibly be alive. Here's a headline I never see on the news. Global child mortality has never been lower, from 36% in 1900 to 4% in 2017. We also live longer, there's better access to education for more people than ever before, and I can go on and on. When author A.J. Jacobs pictures himself living in different times, similar to Owen Wilson in Midnight in Paris, he snaps himself out of it with these 3 words: surgery without anesthesia. Does this mean today's world is a perfect place? Of course not. Life isn't better for every group, and for some, the current times are actually horrendous. But on average, overall, the proposition holds. Yet, from watching the news, I consistently get the impression that the world is doomed or on the verge of ending. And my dopamine-addicted brain loves it. The clips or articles have clickbait headlines, they're short, are always different, and at times even exciting. But here's the thing. I've noticed it distracts me from doing what I really care about. Working on my business, understanding life, making these videos. Those things are hard and require focus. But all these constant interruptions are killing my ability to do solid deep work. Moreover, studies have shown that watching the news can lead to feelings of anxiety, sadness, and even fear. I don't know about you, but I don't particularly enjoy those feelings. In his book Indistractable, Nir Eyal writes that the opposite of distraction is traction, which he defines as any action that moves you toward what you really want. When I think of it that way, what I should be doing is so clear. What I really want is to live a meaningful life and the freedom to live it on my own terms. Time is limited, I'm not 12 anymore. One of the things I regularly ask myself is, when I'm 80 years old, how will I reflect on my life? I hope to be able to look back with gratitude and see a life that was well lived. The other day I saw the documentary Buena Vista Social Club. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's a very moving portrait of a number of almost forgotten old Cuban musicians who were brought together to record an album that would become the biggest selling Cuban album in history. One of the musicians that really stood out to me is Compay Segundo, who was 90 years old at the time, yet still so happy and cheerful. That's how I hope to be if I'm lucky enough to grow that old. One thing I know I won't be thinking at that age is, I wish I checked the news more often. So to break the habit, I'm going to start with a challenge. I won't check the news for 1 month. I trust that if it's truly important, the people I talk to will let me know. After 1 month, I'll evaluate and decide on whether or not I want to continue. To help ease the transition, I will use a few tools. Self-Control is an app that will let me block access to all my favorite news websites, and I will put my phone on airplane mode for most of the day, only turning it back on for intentional use a few times a day, to check my messages. I think these restrictions are necessary in the beginning, but hopefully temporary. I'm sorry if this video turned out to be a bit of a rant. I know this is a sensitive topic to some and a non-issue to others. But I'm at a point where it's really taking a toll on my ability to do my best work, and the opportunity costs are high. So I'm excited about this challenge. I'm hoping it will free up headspace to do better work and do it more efficiently, read more books, and listen to more interesting podcasts. I'm also curious to know where you stand. Are you someone who checks the news daily or not at all? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video.